Good evening. We're so glad to have you here tonight as we host the High School Student Race Relations Forum. We would like to thank all the participants, all the parents who have come out to support Winston-Salem Youth Advisory Council, Dr. Simonton, and everyone else that has come out in attendance for tonight. Winston-Salem Forsyth County Schools values racial discussions, and especially discussions that can move the needle and help us to grow. And we are very grateful this evening to have this platform tonight for some real racial discussions. So again, thank you, welcome to Reynolds, and we thank you for coming out.
Thank you, Mr. Puryear. Good evening, everyone. It is our pleasure to welcome you to the 2018 High School Race Relations Forum, which is sponsored by the City of Winston-Salem Human Relations Department and Human Relations Commission. As you know, this forum is focused on race through the eyes of our young people. And we know that they see lots of things at school, they see lots of things in probably just about every environment that they're in, and they have opinions. And so the young people on our stage tonight are really, really brave. We really appreciate them for being brave enough to share their perspectives with everyone tonight. And as you can see, this is being televised. It is being televised by WSTV 13, which is the City of Winston-Salem's government channel. And I would like to thank the marketing and communications team for being here tonight and videotaping this experience for us. Also, please make sure to check out the city's YouTube channel, and we will also have photographs on the city's Facebook page and Twitter. So everyone, please make sure that you check all of that out, probably even on the city's Flickr page as well. So, human relations. Who are we and what are we about? The Human Relations Department is more or less the civil rights arm of city government for the City of Winston-Salem. So what that means is we investigate claims of discrimination, particularly those that pertain to housing discrimination. We also mediate landlord-tenant complaints, and we put on cultural outreach programs and different seminars for the public and the community at large. And so tonight is one such program. We administer 3 advisory boards. One is the Human Relations Commission. One is the Youth Advisory Council, or YAC, and also the College Advisory Board, or CAB. Both YAC and CAB are comprised of students from area schools. YAC is focused on high school students, and CAB is comprised of local college and university students. And so they advise Mayor Alan Joines and the Winston-Salem City Council, as well as my staff and the Human Relations Commission, on matters that are important and germane to their communities and their age groups. And so that's just in a big nutshell what the Human Relations Department is all about. And so tonight is a very special program to us because it's one of our opportunities to work with our youth. And so we're very excited tonight to have moderators here that represent both the Youth Advisory Council and the College Advisory Board. And you're going to hear from them actually a little bit later. They're going to be the moderators for the entire evening. But without further ado, I would like to, before I introduce our next speaker, recognize my staff. I think we have a couple of people in here from my staff, and the others are probably spread around. But if you are a member of the Human Relations Department staff, please stand and wave if you're in this audience. I cannot see you. Okay. Thanks, everyone. All right, and moving along on the agenda, I'm going to introduce to you now the chairperson of our Human Relations Commission, Ms. Sylvia Durant. Commissioner Durant?
Thank you, Wanda. Good evening, everyone. Hope you're doing well tonight. My name is Sylvia Durant, and I'm the chairperson of the Winston-Salem Human Relations Commission. It is a great pleasure to welcome all of you, students, educators, and community members, to this important forum on racial identity, diversity, and inclusion. The Human Relations Commission, which serves as an advisory body to the mayor and the Winston-Salem City Council, is a 13-member advisory board comprised of citizens of Winston-Salem, including educators, lawyers, scientists, business people, and more, who volunteer their time to advance the causes of fair housing, multicultural outreach, and diversity and inclusion in our community. At this time, I'd like to ask any commissioners who are here with us tonight to stand and be recognized. Thank you, Commissioner Sarton, for your service. In terms of this forum today, I want to extend sincere thanks to these students for being willing to share their candid perspectives on race relations. It is my hope that you will help us to bridge understanding and serve as an agent of positive change in our community. We appreciate very much the perspectives, insights, and experiences that you bring to the table and the possibilities that you provide through this important work. Thanks to all of you again for participating in this forum today. We look forward to experiencing the valuable perspectives that will emerge through this dialogue. And now it is my great pleasure to introduce Dr. Ken Symington, who is Deputy Superintendent at Winston-Salem Forsyth County Schools.
Good evening. It's always my pleasure to be in attendance at the Race Relations Forum because it gives our students an opportunity to show what they have learned and what they're doing and what they're thinking about. So on behalf of our superintendent, Dr. Beverly Emery, our school board, it gives me great pleasure to think about and talk about, for example, the school district's core values. We have 6 core values, one of them which is student-centered. And so tonight I think we get to see that in action. We also have some core beliefs, and one of those core beliefs has to do with how adults make students feel. We know that in schools, and tonight we'll hear students talk about how adults make them feel, but also how they make each other feel. And we also appreciate their honesty and candor in talking about a difficult topic. I also like to thank the City of Winston-Salem, the Office of Human Relations, the commissioners who allow us to be a part of this. Looking forward to hearing these students share with us their knowledge and their reflections and their honesty and candor around an important topic. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Mark Bertoni. I am in the 12th grade at Parkland Magnet High School, and I am the chairperson for the Youth Advisory Council, and I will be one of your co-moderators this evening.
Hi, everyone. My name is Nina Walker. I'm a 3rd year at the University of North Carolina School of the Arts. I am a part of College Advisory Board. Super excited to be here tonight. So what's going to happen is Mark and I, co-moderating tonight, are going to go grab some mics. We've got some questions here that we're going to ask our lovely panel. So we're going to have all of them say their name, what school they go to, and their grade level, and then we'll get started with the questions. Hello, hello. Okay, we're going to start with you. Yes, stand.
Hello, everyone. My name is Gregoria Arriola. I attend Glen High School, and I am a senior.
Hi, my name is Esperanza Vargas, and I go to North Forsyth High School, and I am a senior as well.
My name is Natalia Dama. I go to Middle College of Forsyth, and I'm a junior.
My name is Jennifer Morales, and I'm a senior at Parkland High.
Hello, my name is Himani Bhatt. I'm a senior, and I'm representing the Career Center today.
Hello, my name is Jalen Rose Clark, and I'm a senior at Parkland.
Hi, I'm Avery. I'm a junior and I'm representing Career Center today.
My name is Mia Clemens. I'm a senior and I'm representing Reagan High School.
Hello, my name is Yana Seaman and I am a senior boarding student at Salem Academy.
Hi, my name is P. Sajir Tutu and I'm a senior at Salem Academy.
Hi, my name is Sahar Sayas and I'm a senior at Forsyth Country Day School.
Hi, my name is Ellen. I'm from Forsyth Country Day School. I'm a senior.
Hello, my name is Joshua Kills. I'm a senior at John F. Kennedy High School.
Hello, my name is Porter Alston, and I am a junior at Reagan High School.
Hello, I'm Faith. I'm a junior at West Forsyth.
Hi, I'm Diamond, and I'm a senior at Carver High School.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Portia Smith, and I attend Winston-Salem Preparatory Academy as a sophomore.
Hi, my name is Tamara, and I'm a junior at Winston-Salem Preparatory Academy.
Hello, everybody. My name is Alejandro Romero, and I go to Mount Tabor High School.
My name is Michael Regnery, and I'm a junior at Mount Tabor.
Hello, my name is Jalen Fleming. I'm a junior at R.J. Reynolds.
Hey, my name is Ethan, and I'm Ethan Moe, and I'm a junior at Reynolds.
Hi, I'm Jania Chansu, and I'm a senior at Atkins High School.
Hey, I'm Jaden, and I'm a senior at Glenn High School.
Hi, I'm Jamila, and I'm a senior at Carver.
I'm Antoine Washington Jr., and I attend North Forsyth High School as a senior.
Hi, my name is Olivia Fleming, and I'm a senior at Walkertown High School.
Thank you, panelists. If we could give our panelists a round of applause. So what's going to happen is Mark has the first question, and he's going to kick it off. Panelists, when Mark or I ask a question, if you could just raise your hand, and we'll start passing the mic around. We do have a list of questions to get through, so we probably will cut some questions shorter than others, but please let's all try to participate as much as we can, because we want to hear from as many of you as we can tonight. So, Mark?
Okay, panel. What does diversity mean to you?
Diversity to me means that you're in a group of people from either all over the world or that has different ethnic backgrounds, or people that are just different from you in any way. And it just means that you're with them and you're learning with them and you're in a diverse group, basically.
Diversity means to me is that different group of people get together and then they exchange ideas and then they exchange their cultural and then have like intellectual conversations.
Anyone else? Anyone from the back row? Okay. Move on to the next question. The next question we have is, how do you think diversity affects your school's environment?
I think diversity is really important in a school setting because in high school, you're getting ready to go into the real world in college. And attending a high school that's not diverse, you're getting an unrealistic expectation of what you're going to see in the real world. So diversity in high school, it's really important to prepare yourself.
So I go to the Career Center, and if you guys don't know about the way the Career Center is laid out, there's a Career Center South and a Career Center North. And something that I have noticed about like the Career Center is that the like racial background of a lot of students that go to South is really different from the racial background at North. And to be very honest, it makes me uncomfortable sometimes to go to a school where I go to South and most people there do not look like me. The people that look more like me go to North. But I think that it's helped me I guess, just learn how to deal with people that come from different places and that I do not come from.
Diversity means to me just in a setting where it's for school or in public is very important. It's almost like an expression or opinion. Everyone has a different one. And it's all different beings, so it's important that you live up to different beings. Never expectations or always have a high standards is very important to have. And so for high school, it's very important to be very different and accept that you're different and that you're human in every way.
I think diversity is important in a high school setting because a lot of times people are raised a certain way in life, like with their parenting, and they might have certain views towards certain cultures or certain people. And a lot of times what that causes is further generations to have discrimination against other people of like different cultural backgrounds or different, identities or whatever. So I think it's important for people to be exposed, especially younger generation, people to be exposed to different backgrounds so they can shed some of that prejudice, and it would develop a more open-minded person, and that would cause younger generations, like maybe their kids, to be less prejudiced towards people that are different.
So I think diversity is very important in the high school setting because it is reality. High school should represent the real world because that's what we're going to be entering after high school. And I think that diversity a lot of times is talked about in a very watered down sense, where it's just kumbaya, let's hold hands. But in reality, diversity must exist because that is the reality. So if it's not existing, that's a problem. And also having that diversity obviously educates other people, which makes it so in the future, people from diverse backgrounds don't have to face the stereotypes and have to live up to unrealistic expectations and can just be who they are. So that's why I think it's important.
Anyone else?
Diversity is important because it helps people to feel confident and feel accepted in their community.
I feel as though diversity in a high school setting is extremely important, and not only with race, but also with gender identity and sexual orientation, because that is what the real world is like. When we go to college, we're going to see people that are from all walks of life, and people need to be able to know how to respect people that they have possibly never encountered before, or know how to respect different cultures. And that's something that you can really learn in high school, especially if you have a diverse high school.
Diversity helps us better understand one another. We're able to share ideas, cooperate, and in the real world, having diversity really helps us from stereotypes and just, being able to love one another and help each other in the real world.
Thank you, panelists. We're going to move on to the next question.
How do you think diversity affects your schools? Nope. Is race an easy or difficult issue to discuss, and why? I'd also like to remind panelists that before talking, please say your name and school.
My name is Joshua. I'm a senior at John F. Kennedy. I feel race is difficult, to deal with, especially as a black man, especially with the police brutality, as you see in news, media. It's very difficult getting pulled over by the police. I have been pulled over once by police for a ticket issue. The way I handled that, I was scared, really fearful for my life. After seeing, what all happened on TV. I did not want to be like one of the victims shot up. That is difficult to deal with as a black man. And I feel that in order to bring awareness and, it's just difficult to deal with as a black man. And in order to stop this, we have to come together as a community. society. And yeah, that's how I feel how race is difficult, especially as a black man.
Yeah, I can repeat the question. The question was, is race an easy or difficult issue to discuss, and why?
Okay, my name is Gregoria. I attend Glen High School. So the question is race something difficult? And I feel that it's something that we can all agree on that is true. Sometimes, for example, I had a discussion in class about racism, and it was everybody providing their opinion. But sometimes I feel, as a Latina, I have already been labeled before I'm speaking in front of a bunch of people. I have a label, a sticker on me that's going to be already identifying me. And I feel it's a little hard when all those comments have been put into people's mind, and then I stand and I try to speak and try to come out of it when I've already been blended into it and already been labeled by it. So that's why, for me, I feel that racism is difficult in that sense, because people have had stereotypes embedded in them since they were children, since history, generations past. So it is something that will be kind of hard to overpass in certain situations.
My name is Yana Seaman, and I am from Salem Academy once again. I definitely believe that race is a very difficult thing to talk about, especially for myself coming from a country where race isn't exactly an issue. We are a majority black country, but we welcome everybody into our island as if we're all family. And then coming here to boarding school and experiencing a community that's majority white people, or just kind of like a division of people throughout our communities, whether it is at lunch where you only see the black girls sitting together and like all the white friends are sitting together, you find it difficult to bring up that conversation when there's no diversity, as we spoke about earlier, in the conversation. There's nobody to share like different backgrounds because everyone is afraid. Or when you do start the conversation, somebody wants to shut it down. So I definitely think that it's a very difficult topic to talk about, simply because a lot of people are not confident enough or brave enough to start that conversation and keep it going amongst each other.
Anyone else have anything?
Okay, race being a difficult subject to discuss, yeah. So I think that race is very difficult to discuss, and I think that that stems from our country and our nation and our society as a whole, our like refusal to kind of deal with the past and like discuss it. And I feel like there's so many unresolved things from the past that we just haven't discussed and resolved as a society, and that really stems down to people just being uncomfortable to talk about these topics. But being uncomfortable and talking about, being uncomfortable about race is the exact reason why it needs to be talked about. And I think that there needs to be more trust between people, where people can not feel uncomfortable to share their opinion or ask someone from a different race, you know, a very kind question if you're just curious. But we just need to have trust where we can have these discussions and ask each other questions and deal with those issues that we still haven't dealt with.
My name is Olivia Fleming from Walkertown, and I believe talking about race is a very touchy subject because we mainly love to talk about things that make us comfortable. We don't want to offend anyone. We want to make sure everyone is comfortable, and dealing with the uncomfortable, we just don't like talking about those things. We don't like to hurt people's feelings, but race is reality, you know, stereotypes, racism. Being an African-American young female sometimes can be difficult because our voices aren't heard and people judge us before we even come out and speak. They expect us to talk a certain way, dress a certain way, wear our hair a certain way. But if we break those, you know, barriers and we talk about things that make us uncomfortable, then I feel like the world will be better. We won't have as much problems as we do now because we're able to talk about things that make us uncomfortable. So,
My name is Portia Smith, and I attend Winston-Salem Preparatory Academy. And yes, racism is very, very hard to speak about as a multiracial female. Of course, it should never be comfortable to speak about racism. Instead, it should be something as though to be more comfortable about speaking to solving it speaking about it not only on this stage, but it should be an open conversation at our schools, at home, and everywhere. In the workplace, it should never be comfortable to speak with racism, but also to break barriers and to add things into where we don't have to look at each other and say, I'm afraid someone's gonna hurt me because of my race. I'm afraid that somebody's gonna judge me from the way my hair looks or the way I dress. It should never be comfortable. And so I feel uncomfortable speaking about it, but I feel completely comfortable speaking about solutions to help our youth and beyond.
I'm Janiyah from Atkins, and race needs to be spoke upon because many people don't have the knowledge of other people's backgrounds, and they may go out and have those stereotypes, and instead they need to step out and ask that person of how it feels to be who they are and learn more about it.
Hello, everyone. My name is Alejandro, and I attend Mount Tabor High School. And I think that nowadays it's very hard to talk about race because of all the stereotypes that we have attached to people that we think are from a different race. But I don't know if you guys know, but there's only one race, and it's the human race. Yeah, you can say, oh, he's Hispanic, Asian, black, white. But that's all the things that us as humans have attached to those things, in which we have added labels. And we see them as different, when in reality, we all are just the same. And that's why I think that nowadays it's very extremely hard to talk about race, because we have a different thought process of it than the one that we used to have.
Thank you, panel. I'm going to move on to the next question. Have you ever discussed issues of race or ethnicity at your school? In what context and in what extent?
Hey y'all, I'm Mia Clemens, once again representing Reagan High School. If y'all know anything about Reagan, you know that it's not very diverse at all. I'm a senior, and since my 9th grade year, I have been one of the only black girls in the majority of my classes. I take mainly AP and seminar courses, and since my 9th grade year, everyone has always kind of looked to me to have that voice on like racism and diversity. And I mean, I don't mind speaking about it, but it's just hard being the only person of your kind in a setting where race is a topic of discussion. Because personally, I get really, I want to say like feisty. I get really motivated, like I'm really ready to talk about race. And when I get feisty, people are like, oh, she's the angry black girl, you're getting that label. And it's just constantly feeling like you can't comfortably speak and say what you want to say without being judged. So I've had many conversations. Most of the time, I'm the only colored person in the conversation. And it always ends with you feeling like you're judged and you not feeling comfortable to speak your mind as far as race goes.
My name is Jennifer, and I'm from Parkland. And at Parkland, we decided, I think it was about 5 years ago, that we started Mandela Society, which is a community where we're able to talk about such hard topics such as race. Because during school, we're just shut down, and that's something for us is seen as unacceptable. Because Mandela Society was started right when Ferguson was happening. And even by talking about stuff like heavy topics such as race, racism, and police brutality, and such topics such as those, we're always shut down. And for us, that was seen as something unacceptable. So I wanted to say that Mandela Society at Parkland is something that we can have a safe place to talk about such heavy topics such as those. And even though it's kind of rare, we do talk about these things, and our voices do need to be heard.
So my name's Sahar once again, and I'm a senior at Forsyth Country Day School. And our school is not the most diverse. And once again, I am also one of the only few people of color in most of my classes. I can count on my hands, probably, the ones that go to our school. And as a Muslim American, I am often the one who is looked at when things about terrorism or things like that come up, because it's automatically assumed that I'm going to have something to say. And I get super passionate about it, and it ends in me feeling very uncomfortable and feeling like I haven't gotten very far. But while that may be the case in the classroom, I am a part of a couple different clubs at our school that kind of work to create safe places where things can be discussed. But even with the creation of those clubs, it's really hard to get people to like come to meetings for those clubs, because they're like, they don't want to be put in those uncomfortable situations. So yeah, it comes up in class sometimes, and it makes everyone feel uncomfortable, especially the person that everyone looks to. So yeah.
Hi, I'm Esperanza, and I'm from North Forsyth High School. So the last time in an in-class setting that I was able to discuss race was probably in my English class. I actually had a conversation about this with a guy during my 4th period. It was a free period, and he comes from a different background than I do. Okay, if that makes any sense. What I've noticed a lot is when people tend to ignore the struggles of people of color, they tend to act, I'll take the civil rights movement as an example. They tend to act as if those events happened millennia ago, or as if it was more than a century ago, when in reality, we haven't even met the 90-year mark of the civil rights movement. And what people fail to realize is that change is not immediate, especially political change. It is not immediate. And whenever someone tries to discuss that, they are pushed aside, and said, oh, you're just trying to complain about your situation and not get off your butt and do something about it. And that's not how it is, you know? Because a lot of times, we mention labels a lot tonight, and that's true. There's labels for everyone, whether you're Hispanic or you're white, you're black. There's something out there for you that they will have, they will place you in a category whether you want to or not. And especially people from that kind of political background, more, I'll say more conservative backgrounds, they tend to place the struggles of people of color as if they were non-existent or non-important, and they refuse to address them. And when someone does bring it up, they act like they're not important, or that we just want to complain about something, that we don't want to do our own work. When in reality, we're often the people who work the hardest to get to where we need to be, when they might not work as hard. So that's how I view it. And in school, it's not discussed enough, because they don't want people getting offended, and they also don't want to realize how there are certain types of people in our school that might be a bigot or racist, and they don't want to, they do not want to address that, and they don't want to admit it to themselves. So they'd rather live in that denial rather than trying to fix the problem and bring progressiveness forth.
My name is Pisa Tutu. I go to Salem Academy. And I believe that in my school, in the classroom setting, a lot of teachers don't like to necessarily bring up topics about race. They like to just kind of keep it as like classroom setting, and we're not going to talk about it. But I actually started the Black Student Union at my school, and I feel like it is a space that I specifically wanted to create, because I wanted us to have these type of talks, and I wanted us to be able to have a community of not just African American students, but other students from that are of different races to come together to talk about it, because that's what this world is, right? If only Black people are sitting around talking about Black problems, then nothing's going to get done, because in this world we have people that aren't Black, we have white people, we have Asian people, we have other types of people, and I feel as though it is super important to have these type of discussions, like what we're standing here, what we're doing right now is super important. And I feel as though my high school can do a little bit better with opening up the dialogue, as well as allowing other students to feel comfortable to talk about it, rather than us being like, oh, we're gonna have like a meeting, blah, blah. I feel like the school can do a little bit more to say, okay, like maybe we're gonna have a school-wide discussion, something like this, something like a forum. Maybe the school could also have a forum like Reynolds is doing, and that's.
Thank you, panelists. The next question is, do you have close friends that are of a different race? Do you find it difficult to relate to some races or culture?
Porter Alston, Reagan High School. I am an African American male, and I have a best friend named Will Duggins who is Caucasian. And I feel as though at no point in my life has it been hard to relate to him, because I feel as though I've just been very open and accepting of everything, because it's the second that you start to walk on eggshells and really start to hesitate that it really becomes a problem to interact with other cultures. So I feel as though by being open and never really thinking different about it, it's really allowed me to just connect with him and not really feel different about it. And it's never been a problem, and I've always been able to hang out with him. And I've also attended Reagan High School, where most people are indeed Caucasian there. And I feel as though if I were to feel awkward about it, it would limit a lot of the possibilities and chances for friendships that I could possibly have. And so I feel by being open, it's really allowed me to make more friends. And it's never quite been a problem for me.
Yes. Do you have close friends that are of a different race? Do you find it difficult to relate to some races or cultures?
Hello, I'm Himani Bhatt again from the Career Center, and in my AP Psychology class, I have a friend named Sally, and when she was 11 years old, she moved to Winston-Salem from West Africa. And so one day I was not really thinking about what I was saying, and I was talking about the college application process and how college application leaders view Asian Americans. And something that Sally asked me that I just had to stop and think was, what do application leaders think when they see like my ethnicity? And I think that's one of the hardest parts about having friends from different racial backgrounds, because there's certain things that you don't always feel comfortable saying to them, and topics that you don't feel comfortable like talking about with them. And sometimes if there's something that you want to say or express, you're kind of afraid because you don't know if they're going to get offended by what you have to say. And I remember in that conversation, I was actually saved by my EP psychology teacher, who had a big discussion about like college application processes and everything. So thank you.
Once again, I'm Mia Clemens from Reagan High School. I'm not gonna lie, it is very hard to relate to people that don't have the same background as me, not just racially, but culturally. I was raised by a single black mother. I had a pretty absent father growing up. And going to Reagan, I went to Haynes for middle school, which, you know, a lot of the kids that were in my classes were white as well. Going to Reagan and going to Haynes, a lot of kids, not only were they not black, they didn't have the same background as me. They grew up in a two-parent household with siblings and nice cars and all this stuff. And I got to high school and, you know, people were telling me how they live their lives and, you know, the things that they're allowed to do and the experiences that they've had growing up and how they've been all these countries and done all these things. And it's hard. It's not easy. Not that I don't want to relate to them, but because, you know, it's hard to relate to them because that's just not how I was growing up. Right now, I have two really, really close friends who are both mixed race. They're both half black, half white. One of them was raised by their single white mother. The other was raised by their single black mother. And to be honest, my friend who was raised by her black mother, her and I kind of click on a deeper level because we both grew up, you know, with our parents listening to like R&B music, and we can sing Mary J. Blige songs together and like Boys to Men and all this stuff. And then my friend who was raised by her white parent, you know, there's just some parts that don't click together. You know, not that I don't want them to, not that I don't love her more or less than I love my other mixed race friends, but to be honest, you know, if you don't have the same background as somebody, it's hard to make a connection that just isn't there.
Okay, I'm Jalen Rose. I'm from Parkland High School. So at Parkland, I'm also in the IB program. So I started my 9th grade year, and honestly, it was mostly white kids in the IB program my 9th grade year. But as a senior, it's gotten much diverse, and having friends in the IB program, white, Hispanic, and black, we're just close enough where we're okay talking about race with each other, even though it is like harsh topics that we talk about with each other. We've been together for so long that it's just easy to understand them and to talk to your friends about it. So having friends from different backgrounds, I think it's important to understand each other even more. And of course, there's still ignorant people out there who don't want to listen, but just having friends from different backgrounds, I think it really helps.
I'm Avery Browning, and I'm representing Career Center tonight. I think in my classes, I have some friends that are like different ethnicities than me, and like we're a diverse group of friends. And I think it's like we relate to each other really well because we're friends and we know each other very well, and we can like talk to each other about like anything, and we're okay with discussing whatever we need to. But I think in society, like once we get out of our like friend group, it's kind of hard to like talk about different things with other people. And our classes like touch on the subject sometimes, and so I think that like some of them feel like taken away from society at times because of their ethnicity. But I think that like when you're in a friend group, you kind of like get to know each other, and then you're comfortable with like saying anything around people. And so it's easier when you're in a friend group to connect to those others and like feel like you're a part of something. So I say like just make those friends and all, and then like talk about it in society and like actually bring it up.
Hi, I'm Ethan Moe. I go to Reynolds, and well, all my life, all I've known is other races, and like all my friends are either Caucasian, Black. I mean, the majority of my friends, like I said, are other races. Not many Asian people live in Winston-Salem, and I think having a voice in more Asian people speaking up and is important. So.
Thank you, panelists. We're going to move on to the next question. We'd like to encourage that those who have not spoken yet, please participate in these next 2 questions.
So our next question is, do race relations affect classroom behavior and or academic achievement? Got one hand.
I feel like race relations does definitely affect classrooms, especially schools. When there are communities of majority African Americans who are of lower income, their schools are generally not as good as another community of Caucasian people with higher incomes. And I feel as though in the classroom there are certain topics that people kind of touch around, like when speaking on slavery or when we watch Roots and people are just kind of like, ooh, you know, I feel like it does kind of affect the way we have discussions and what people do want to say versus like what people say versus what they're really thinking. I feel like it kind of limits people sometimes because they don't want to offend other people. So yeah.
I'm Antoine Washington from North Forsyth High School. I'm the person that tries to reach out to other races so I can feel comfortable in my environment at school. I'm able to sit in the classroom and mingle with everybody. So if I feel comfortable in the classroom, I'll be able to do my work faster and quicker because most teachers nowadays allow like group work inside the classroom, and I feel like if I have different friends from different races, I won't feel uncomfortable doing anything with any of them.
Again, I'm Jalen from Parkland. So I also feel like the achievement of different races at schools also depends on that school and how much responsibility the administration takes there. Because at Parkland, we're dominantly Hispanic and Black, but we have programs that at Parkland that help Black and Latino people achieve. Like we have a young Black and Latino Achievers program. So I feel like it doesn't all fall on like the majority race at a school, how that school achieves, but also how the teachers and staff chooses to help those students achieve.
Oh, sorry. I would like to speak in terms of if it limits academic achievement. I do feel that, and I'm going to be touching on the subject of datka. A lot of students, including really, really good friends of mine, have depended on datka to continue their education. And if you have been informed on what's been going on, it's been kind of just put to the side. And by being put to the side, a lot of people are not going to continue their education. I'm going to be able to walk the stage, but I know that there's going to be some people that grew up with me in the same environment, took the same classes as me, have the same stories, have everything the same as me, but because they were not born in this country, they will not be being able to go into a college and pursue their career. So it does, you are limited, because if you're not born in this country, you are not going to be considered to be taken into a university if you do not have a certain thing, which is datka for a lot of students. So for me, that is sort of what I'm trying to touch on in terms of it limited academic achievements, because some students cannot get that access as easily as other students can. Yeah.
I noticed from some students that they tell me that some teachers, they have the feeling that the teachers don't see that success in them. So if the students are able to see minorities succeed, go to college, and make their accomplishments and dreams, they could feel that they could do the same thing and break through those barriers.
Hi, I'm Jamila, and I'm from Carver. I'm a senior. I believe that a lot of people view race as a behavior, not only as a race. Like black, they view being black a behavior. So a lot of people, they label black people, especially at Carver and Hispanics at Carver, and that's what our races are mainly, black and Hispanic. They view us as disruptive, rowdy, and all of us get placed in this one group. So it's like, it's really hard for those who are trying to achieve to get academic opportunity, to get, once people find out what school you go to or who you are, your background, not just about the school, but who you are, where you're from, what neighborhood you're from, a lot of people don't give you a second look. So I do feel like sometimes you get written off before you even get a chance. And that's how I feel a lot of the times.
Hi, my name is Tamara, and I attend Winston-Salem Prep. And I feel that academically there's a stereotype on African Americans that they're not smart or capable in doing work, but in reality they do have the potential.
My name is Diamond, and I feel like at school, when you like the first day of school and you have like those icebreakers, you never really hear, well, let's talk about like the different races. And let's everybody say what race you are, and let's compare and everything. And I feel like sometimes people feel like, well, why do they want to know about what race I am? Or I want to tell them, but nobody else is going to say anything. So I feel like sometimes that could be hard to, try to come out your shell sometimes.
We're going to do one more question, Mark, if you want to ask.
What more can we do to improve the race relations within the community of Winston-Salem?
Repeat it. Mark, will you repeat your question?
Sure. What more can we do to improve the race relations within the community of Winston-Salem?
I feel that we can,
No, you can go ahead.
Okay. Sorry. I feel that we can improve it by being an example for the future generations. And I also feel that if parents were to raise their children from a young age knowing that there's difference out there in the world. You're going to sit down in a classroom and, the little girl, little boy next to you is not going to look the same as you, but that does not mean that it's bad. It means that it's good. They're different from you. They're going to have different backgrounds. And I feel that if from a young age you're raised to know that if somebody looks different than you, that's a good thing. That's a wonderful thing. If you're raised like me, I was raised knowing that people were different from me, but that excited me more to want to meet them and know about them and know how they were raised differently from me. So I feel if everybody was grown in that mindset, such racism maybe would not, I'm not saying that racism is not going to exist because it's not really reality. You know, it's always going to be there whether we want to or not. But I feel that if that was a more open subject and people saw that this is the right thing to embrace different cultures, when a conflict rises, they know that that's bad. And they know that that has to be fixed because they know it's right to be different. So, yes.
Once again, my name is Portia Smith, and I attend Winston-Salem Preparatory Academy. I feel like everyone should get a chance to explore different cultures and just go out and explore the world, because there's always going to be someone different from you, no matter what. And have a chance to understand everyone's backgrounds. Not everyone was raised the same, of course. I may not be raised the same as anyone up here. Everyone has a different story, so try to understand the story and to relate. And even if you can't relate, always be supportive. I've always had this saying, negativity is a fuel and positivity is a head uplifter. And so for negativity, such as racism, it encourages me to speak more about it, to explore different cultures, as I said, and positivity for having different friends of different races and exploring those cultures inspires me to do more and to talk openly as I am tonight, and at home and in workplaces and volunteer areas, and as well as school, definitely at school. So.
I feel like there should be a required course for people to talk about their race. Yes, it's good to have English and history, but when you go into the real world, you need to know about those people around you, those people you're actually going to be talking to you to help improve yourself, improve the world.
I'm Ellen. I'm from Forsyth Country Day School. I think be open-minded and exposed to different culture really helps to embrace different people together, because for me, I came to United States 4 years ago from China, and I found it super hard to, like, honestly express myself. So last year we had this international festival in my school, so everybody just dressed up from different like cultures, and then like they came to school. So people just get a really good experience of exposing to different culture, and they get to know each other better from a different perspective, from a different lens. So I think be open-minded, and then also like having a school to provide this environment to like embrace everyone together, and then have this really good community, and everybody just share their opinion, and then like share their cultural background and then the story with each other is really important. Hello, I'm Himani Bhatt again from Career Center. And something that I have found helpful for me and some of my peers to improve race relations is a mentoring program called Big Brothers, Big Sisters. It's through Crosby Scholars. And I think that the city of Winston-Salem as a whole can increase a lot of awareness about these kinds of mentoring programs, because Big Brothers, Big Sisters isn't the only one out there. And so what I do is from October through April, I meet with my little, and I help her with her homework and just talk about like goals and college and like getting a higher education, kind of breaking past where you come from into where you want to be. And she's from a different racial background than me, but she's still my little sister, and that doesn't affect the way that we treat each other. And I feel like if more students from those kinds of backgrounds can be paired with bigs or like role models from different places, they'll be able to understand like it doesn't really matter where I come from. It's not going to dictate like what I can achieve.
I think honestly, especially in Winston-Salem and in Forsyth County, the single most important thing we can do
to help racism is to talk about racism. And I know someone said this earlier, but what we're doing here is big, it's huge, and it's more than just this. It's more than just having, you know, an annual discussion about this. It's about talking about things like this within your family, within your church, within your school, within the classroom, you know. It doesn't take money. It doesn't take much, it just takes time. And one of the strongest fuels for racism is racial tension. And the only way to break down racial tension is to talk about it. And there are so many bigger things that need to be done, so many stronger actions that need to be taken, but none of that can happen unless you talk about it, get to the root of the problem, figure out what is being done and what needs to be done, and then that's how you come to a solution.
I'm Jennifer from Parkland, and I think one thing that we have to do first is to draw our mentality, to destroy it, our mentality of it's us versus them. I feel like that mentality has set us back so far that we can't improve anything. Racism is still large because the mentality is still the same. It's always us versus them, and I think that's something that we have to change as a whole. And as a person, I feel like it's always been, I'm Hispanic, I'm gonna hang out with the minorities because I kind of feel outcasted in a way, because when you're the only minority in a class, it feels like you've been set aside. You're like the outsider, and I feel like that has something that has to change. And I think it's the same when, like we all mentioned our schools, right? We say, oh, the majority is Hispanic and African Americans, or the majority is Caucasian, and that's because the way our schools are laid out. It's made up of our neighborhoods. What school is closer to our neighborhood, and the more richer neighborhoods, those who have higher wages, better jobs, they're mostly Caucasian. All you're gonna get there is mostly Caucasian and Asian people. And there's not much of a diversity there. Yes, our Asian population is small here, but in most places, such as like in Asia, you're only gonna get Asians. That's like the way it is. But in America here, you get a mixture of so many different cultures and races. To me, it's like surprising because my family is from Mexico, right? We don't really talk about race. Yes, but the difference between there and here is that even though race isn't talked about, it still impacts you, because the paler you are, the better benefits you get. The darker your skin tone, the more disrespect you're gonna get. And I feel like that's something we have worldwide. And I think we need to start having the conversation, start speaking about it, and actually start changing. Civil rights movement wasn't so long ago. So we need to look into ourselves to change our mentality. The us versus them mentality, it needs to be gone. And I think that's something we need to change as a whole.
Thank you, panel. We're now gonna move on to some audience submitted questions. Nina, would you like to start us off?
I will. So the first one that we have is, what can teachers, administrators, and the school district do to support race relations within your school?
I'm Jalen from Parkland again. And so I feel like some teachers are amazing. Like some teachers, their classroom is an open outlet to talk about race and the issues and everything. But some other teachers, I think they start to fear that if they let students talk about race in their classroom, then it's going to become a huge issue. But I think teachers begin to forget that at a young age, you have to let students talk about and be open about race, so that when they're older and your age, they're not all closed up and scared to talk about race. And I feel like that as administrators and school teachers, I think you just have to let students talk and be open about what they need to say.
Hi, I'm Joshua from representing Kennedy. I feel teachers could talk more about race relations in class. I'll give a shout out to Dr. Schaefer, my history teacher. He is all about, talking about Spanish heritage, all the different races, period. He's all of it. But as far as like other teachers, I feel like when they go discussing like topics, regarding the class, they can also go into bringing about race. Like one of my colleagues has mentioned that if we don't say nothing about it, then it's not going to be solved. So, yeah, as if to bring more awareness, students have to reach out. If they feel uncomfortable, talk to your teachers.
I'm Avery. I'm from Career Center again. And I feel like teachers in the school, like at Career Center, do a pretty good job of like having an open classroom where you can talk about things, but we have so much like work that we have to get done too. You have like specific time that you have to like get your work done and like do different things, and you can talk about different problems and all. And I think that a lot of the teachers are accepting to like be able to talk about it, but there's just not like time and like a place for us to be able to do that. And like some of them are like, you can come after class, but like a lot of people feel awkward like coming after class, like when you have a question that's like asked and then you have to stay after and like answer it or whatever, because a lot of people feel like it's like you're getting judged for trying to like answer this question that a lot of people have had. And so a lot of my friends that have like told me things like throughout the years and all too, it's gotten a lot better, and I think we definitely bring it up more. But a big thing that we can do is like really just talk about it and be okay to be open about it.
I'm Peace from Salem Academy, and I believe that exactly what she said. Like, I understand that certain teachers, if you're teaching chemistry, biology, what are we sitting around talking about race for, to be honest? I feel as though these teachers, they have their specific curriculum, they have their specifics that they're supposed to talk about. But I do also feel like other teachers that are teaching U.S. history, economics, like topics that can relate to race, they should bring it up if they are talking about it. And I feel like the teachers that don't like have that in their curriculum or anything, that they should support the groups that are being open to speaking about it at the school, because I know that at each and every school there should be a group, or there should be people that are willing to sit and talk about it. And I feel like teachers should bring it up to higher administration that, hey, maybe we should have this discussion also, you know, like maybe I'm seeing this in the classroom, maybe we should talk about it with the school.
Thank you, panel. To get through the audience-submitted questions, we are going to have to limit the number of responses that we have per question. So if you have not spoken yet, now would be the time. So the next question from the audience is, what do you think about the idea of a post-racial society? Do you see anything wrong with relationships between people of different races where race is never mentioned? Yeah, okay. What do you think about the idea of a post-racial society where race is never mentioned? Do you see anything wrong with relationships between people of different races? It's kind of a twofold question.
Again, my name is Yana, and I'm from Salem Academy. I see absolutely no issue with having friendships with people from different races. I don't think that you should be limited to the race that you know, because that's limiting yourself from experiencing so many different cultures, so many different backgrounds, so many things that you never would have known if you weren't friends with that particular person. I definitely think that race should not be something that's just kept quiet. I think that it should always be, well, maybe not in every setting, but it should be a conversation that's constant, so that it won't be an issue anymore, so that you can learn from the racial issues that we have today, and then use the issues that you see, use the solutions that you think that people have, so that you can make whatever environment that you're in better, so that you can feel more comfortable in whatever environment that you're in.
Once again, I'm Sahara, representing Forsyth Country Day. The idea of a post-racial society is a great idea, but it's just so far from where we are now. People like to think that racism is a thing of the past, and that because we've had an African American president, somehow racism is gone, and that's just not the case. And talking about race, we're gonna have to talk about it for a long time to deal with those issues that we've just pushed under the rug for so long. So the idea of a post-racial society, I think, is kind of in an ideal world. I do think that we can get there, maybe not completely, but eventually, and yeah.
So again, I'm Himani from the Career Center, and by post-racial society, if that means post-racial discrimination, then yeah, I'm all for it. But I don't like the idea of ignoring who we are and where we come from, because I think that a race is who we are. That's a reason why I like the kind of food that I do and the kind of music that I do and the way I dress, everything, the way I speak. Maybe I have an accent. That's all because of where I come from. And so I don't think that differences like between me and maybe a friend should make me treat my friend any differently, but I also don't think that we shouldn't mention a race and pretend like we're exactly the same when we're not. We all come from such different places. And by just accepting that and being okay with that, I think that's the best that we can do to move into a post-racial discrimination society.
I'm going to move on to the next question. So the next question is, what has been your biggest struggle concerning race that you have experienced?
I'm Jamila from Carver. One of my biggest struggles dealing with race is people's views on how I should be. I'm too black, I'm too white, I'm a black girl, half white, half black, I'm too black. It's a topic to where if I have white friends, oh, you're whitenized. If I have black friends, oh, you're ghetto. That's really my problem. It's not really with me, it's with everybody else that makes it seem like who I am determines on who I hang around or what I watch on TV. If I don't like Love and Hip Hop, if I don't like the BET Awards, if I don't like things that are susceptible to black people, then I am not black enough to the outside society.
Sorry, we're gonna go. Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Alejandro. I'm from Mount Tabor. I'm a junior, and I will have to say that my biggest struggle throughout like most of middle school and high school will be like people at how do I say this? I play sport. I run cross country and track, and I always get people saying, "What? That's so weird. You should run. You should play soccer," or things saying, "Oh, you can't do that. You're Hispanic. Go play soccer." And it always goes back to soccer and Hispanic things, saying like, "Oh, what? You don't like eating tacos or Mexican food? That's so weird. You're acting like you're not even Hispanic." And I honestly really hate that because I like to do my own thing regardless of like my race.
I'm Anton Washington from North Forsyth. I believe my biggest struggle as an African American at my school, being in the classroom where, I take AP classes at my school, and at my school, it's very rare for like African Americans to actually shoot for those classes and stuff because they believe it's too hard for them and stuff. So when I tell people that I take those classes and I do those things, it's surprising to them, and it's kind of hard on the inside for me to believe that people believe it's hard for an African American to actually shoot for a harder class or something that they want to do to expand their mind and things. So yeah.
Okay, we're going to have to move on to the next question, and I'd like the panel to keep in mind we now have to limit it to one response per question. So we really encourage those who have not spoken yet to respond to these questions. What event going on right now, what event or race-related issue going on right now do you feel needs to be talked about more? Why do you feel this way?
One really good answer.
Hi, it's Esperanza from North Forsyth High School again. I feel like one of the biggest issues right now that has been kind of pushed to the side, but not really, is immigration. As a Hispanic person, especially a Mexican American, they often relate immigration, particularly undocumented immigrants. I will not say illegal, and I will not say alien, because that is dehumanizing to me and to many people. That is dehumanizing. So I will say undocumented, because that's what it is. It's a piece of paper saying whether you were born here or not. It does not constitute your human worth, and it does not mean that you can be treated humanely or inhumanely based on what soil you were born on. Because guess what? That soil, all of that, it was made by people, by the victors in history, if you will. And often, people relate immigration to Mexicans, especially what they call illegal immigration. And that is not the case. There are literally people here who are from Asia, from Africa, from Europe, who have come here to this country to get a better life for themselves. And the problem is whenever you address, oh, hey, maybe that's what you're saying right now is racist. They're like, oh, it's not racist, it's just political. So what is racism then? If it's not you thinking that an immigrant looks a certain way, talks a certain way, dresses a certain way, or you place a label on them, then what is racism? Because in these days, today, if you say that was racist, they're often going to bring up the topic, oh, you're just a little offended, or you're just sensitive, when that's not the case. Because they don't know what it feels like to be in your shoes, especially as a person of color. They cannot tell you what your problem is, because they have not experienced the same thing. I cannot tell you how many times I've had people tell me, are you from here? Yes, I'm from here. I was born here on the soil. But how many times can I tell you that I've had people at a store or maybe just walking on the street give me some certain kind of look or assume something because I speak Spanish fluently? That's a problem today. And that really bothers me, and I'm sure many people feel this way as me. Another thing that is often, I'm going to mention the children that were placed in cages, or those. They often bring up the argument, they should have come here legally. Again, it goes back to the whole paper thing. It's a piece of paper. Okay, it does not make you less human. You're not supposed to tell someone that they're a piece of crap, or that they're not worth being given the basic human decency of shelter because they were fleeing from something that is far more dangerous. People don't realize that no one would put their children in danger unless it was for their better, for their future. Because any parent in here, I'm sure, would put their life on the line for their child if they needed to be. So that's a problem today. And I could go a lot longer, but yeah.
The next question is, do you believe what you're doing will change the future of your school, your city, your state, and the country?
Okay, I'm Mia again from Reagan. Like I've said a few times, Reagan is not as diverse as it could be, or in my opinion, as it should be. But I feel like, personally, I have left a really big footprint on my school. I was the first African American in my school's history to hold any student body office position. I'm a 2-year reigning student body historian. I was freshman class president. I came into Reagan knowing no one. I knew, I kid you not, 2 people. In 2 weeks, I turned around and I became the first African American female at that freshman class president. With that being said, I feel that what I'm doing is motivating people that are younger than me to do things that I've done and to go above and beyond what I've done. Be better than me, be better than what I've done, be better than what I want to be, because I feel like what we're doing is setting an example for younger people, and those younger people are our future. Just like we're the future of America, people younger than us are also the future of America. So I feel like personally I've had a really big impact on Reagan, and it's just something that I want to continue going. I see freshmen now who are doing things that I've done, and it really, really honors me to know that I have impacted these people, and hopefully not only will my impact last in Reagan High School, but it'll go above and beyond to Winston-Salem, Forsyth County, to North Carolina, to the United States, to North America, to the entire world.
Thank you. Our next question is the argument about one race, the human race, harmful or a barrier to working towards diversity?
Can you give me your hands one more time?
So I think working toward one race the human race defeats what diversity is, honestly. Because if we're just gonna have one race, then we're just all gonna be the same thing. There's nothing gonna be different about us. We're just all gonna be one person, and that's not what diversity is. Diversity is accepting what's different about everyone and understanding what's different between each other and knowing that that's okay to be different. It's awesome to be different. So having one race, the human race, doesn't make any sense. It's defeating diversity. So, yeah.
And can we give our panel a round of applause? Thank you so much, guys. Unfortunately, that was the last question. I want to thank you guys so much for being here today and for doing this for us. It was great to get to hear all of your wonderful, wonderful minds get to come together and speak with all of us today. So thank you.
And also, can you please give a hearty round of applause for our moderators today, Nina and Mark. They did a fabulous job. I am joined now by our Vice Chair of the Human Relations Commission, Mr. Robert Leake, Reverend Robert Leake. And we are going to just close out the program. But first, I wanted to ask our students if the back row can rise, because we want to get a photo of the entire group.